Oh, it's too early. I say that, but it's 11:25. Oh, I've been meaning to do this for... Oh god, I've been meaning to do this video for absolutely forever. It's been a while, so hopefully there will be a video preceding this saying, hey, I'm going to upload to this channel again, but if not, fuck it, this is it. So, I want to build an e-bike. Now, reasonings for building an e-bike is 1, it's cool, and 2, I have a car and it's very expensive at the moment. Basically, I'm fucking broke, like proper, you have no idea. All this stuff behind me, whatever, I'm still kind of paying for because a couple of years ago there was issues in my life and I thought, you know, what's a good way to solve sad things and whatnot is buy shit and just buy lots of shit. And yeah, it helped. I mean, yeah, I've had a good couple of years just making music. So if you would like to see what kind of music I make, there'll be some in the background probably at points during these videos because I can use that without any copyright issues. Or you can go ahead and check out the channel that's like sitting behind me. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's there because shameless plug. I've been using my Seat Leon car for 2.5 years maybe now. And it's a great car. It's a Seat Leon FR. I got it in 2017, around about the time that I was spending all this money on other things, and it's costing me a lot of money per month. And I don't really need to use it, that is the thing. So I'm spending, just in, you know, having the thing, I'm spending about £270 per month to just, you know, own it and lease it or whatever. I can't remember what I'm doing. It's like a lease agreement or a lease hire, and I could eventually buy it if I wanted to. And the plan was to eventually buy it. The thing is, it's a lot of money a month, and I don't have any savings. I'm trying to pay off the debt for everything that I've bought during a darker period of my life to cheer me up, which works, by the way. Like, it does. So I really need to find a way to pay off everything like more quickly, really, and just see more of the world, I guess. Because honestly, I don't really need that car. I've had it for 2.5 years. I've barely done 10,000 miles on the thing, considering the previous car I had before that I had from new as well. It was another Seat Leon. It was more fuel efficient one. It was the less sporty model. I had that for 3 years and I had done nearly 30,000 miles, maybe more. And the thing, that was because I had to drive to and from work. It was, you know, a 60-mile round trip and I needed the car. Whereas now I've moved to the place that I work at. I live in Milton Keynes, and the cycle paths here are great. And I've not really done much long distance stuff in all this time. And I thought, well, what can I do to help me save some money? And I thought, hey, cycle to work. So I actually did that, and for a week when my tyre exploded, I literally fucking exploded. Picture should be on screen now. Whilst that was kind of being repaired and getting, you know, waiting for the tyre to be done through a friend or through my family actually, because they knew a guy. You knew a guy who could get it for cheaper, which he did for a little bit cheaper, which is nice. I cycled to work and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was the middle of the summer though, and it was nice and sunny. It was just a nice time. So I cycled to work and I thought, you know what, I'm going to carry on cycling to work because it's a nice thing to do. I'm getting some exercise. It's a nice day. If it was raining, I didn't really have an issue with the rain because it was summer. And English summers, due to climate change, not too bad. Like they last maybe 3 weeks now, which is nice. But yeah, it was nice. So, you know, I was cycled to work for 2 weeks. I had an issue with sweat when I got there, which, you know, I dealt with. And then my bike was stolen. The assholes stole my bike from literally outside the place that I work. So I went back to using the car straight away, and I never really thought about cycling to work again. As I did end up getting a new bike on the cycle to work scheme, so, you know, I'm not going without a bike, so I ended up getting a nice £300 Halfords Crossfire 3 or something like that. And it's a good-ish bike, you know, it's fine. But I didn't actually use it for, well, ever. Like, I've had it over a year now. It's fully paid off because I don't on cycle to work scheme. And I've not really used it. And it occurred to me more recently that I need to save some money. I'm probably going to get rid of the car because I just want to cycle everywhere and just see more of the world. And more than that, I was inspired watching a YouTuber who unicycled around the world called Ed Pratt, and just his adventures, just seeing more of, you know, the outdoors. And yeah, it's like something you don't really notice when you are driving. You don't notice the countryside or anything like that, scenery. You're just focused on the car in front and the road in front, and that's really it. Whereas if you're cycling, you could be going a lot slower. You can take in the surroundings, and there are some nice places around. So my plan was to cycle to work again, but I didn't want to get to work all sweaty and gross because there's quite a few hills between me and my work, and I just didn't want to deal with those hills. And also if I was doing longer stretches, I didn't want to deal with the added weight of everything that's on there. You know, if I went shopping and I wanted to bring home some stuff, I didn't want to deal with going up those hills with a great big pannier rack full of shopping. So I decided, hey, why not do some e-bike stuff, because cool. So that's what I've done. Basically, this is part 1 of my going carless challenge for a year. Now I can't actually go carless for a year until I give back the car, which is going to be in like May-ish, so it'll be a good starting point in, you know, in summer of 2020. For now, I'm just getting used to being on a bike. So there's going to be a few parts. There's going to be this one where it's basically building as much as a bike as I can. Don't take this as a guide. There are plenty of guides out there on how to build an e-bike, and I followed a few of them. This is just like as much as I could document at the time, because this is the first time I've done it, and I didn't film everything. There was a lot of work that went into it. I had some help because I wasn't sure how any of this come apart, especially the crankshaft. That took me a couple of days to figure out. It was fucking painful. So this is kind of my experience building the bike. And yeah, I will probably cut in with some narration a few times. We have a motor. Right, so everything has arrived for the bike build. Well, but the battery, so I'm going to wait for 2 weeks until the battery arrives. It's going to be a long 2 weeks. I might actually install this later, who knows. So first it comes with the chainring and hydraulic sensors. We have the chainring guard. Some instructions, which I didn't really read. A really crappy lamp that you don't really want to use. It's terrible, like just don't use it. Also some aluminium crank arms, which are fine, I guess. Some more connectors and wires and bolts and things that you need to screw everything together. This is the throttle it comes with, which is okay, I guess. The battery connectors, and finally the motor itself, which is a BBS02B model. So it's the most recent BBS02 model. It has a maximum power outage of 750 watts. So also some other bolts and whatnot with a 850C colour display, and I also got this cheap bicycle maintenance kit from Halfords. So now I'm just going to tear down the bike, so I've got a lot of accessories and things that I bought on there. One thing is I cannot mount the big ass lock that you see me, or you seen at the start, that you see me take off, so I have to carry that in the backpack wherever I go now, so I'm hoping to put that on some panniers or something. It's quite irritating because it's a decent lock, and I liked that I could just put it on my frame. But hey, there you go, you know, it is what it is, and it's the price you pay for having a great big battery like in the middle of your frame. So you can see it took me quite a while to do this. I lost light quite quickly. The sun was setting in the background and I didn't have all the tools required. In a second you're going to see me tap on the Bafang motor bracket bits with like a screwdriver and a hammer, just because I didn't really have everything that I needed, which is quite funny. I know this is a bit out of order, but hey, I can't be bothered to go back and fix it, and I just shoved this in here because why not? Okay, so it's the next day. I got a bit stuck with it last night and I was spending too much time because I've never done this before, and the tools were, you know, let's just say cheap and not great. So I mean, they'll do the jobs maybe. So I'm just going to get some help, and I'm not going to film it because there's a million of these already, but the current state of the bike is as such. So I've gotten the So I've gotten the front gears off and the front derailleur off. However, the derailleur is an annoying piece of cheap shit. So it's a Shimano Altus, and this thing does not come out because it's like riveted in place. There's no way for me to undo this cage to get it off of the chain. so I'm going to have to find a way to take the chain off. So I've got a tool to do chains, but I've never done them before. So yeah, that's going to be fun, so I've got to deal with that at some point. Yeah, I'm stuck trying to get the bottom bracket off now because that tool, this thing is flimsy and it doesn't really want to move it. Like, I'm putting a lot of weight on this at the moment and it's just not budging it. So I'm going to have to wait for someone to come and help with that. But I've got the front left grip off, which was a pain. I had to get a screwdriver in underneath it. You can see the scratch marks, and then spray it with some silicone lubricant to get the grip off so I could get the front gears off. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So yeah, next time you see the bike, it's probably gonna be done, and I feel bad about that, but maybe if I build another one, I can actually know what I'm doing, have a better tool set, because I'll probably have a bit more money, who knows. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, it's been a very long day, so I had some help, but the help brought my nephew, who is very young, not even 2, he's like 1 and a few months, and he was very noisy, so yeah, that was fun. But basically I managed to get a bit further, managed to remove the crank arms. I had to do the off side first, whatever, you know, not the drive side, and then we could do the other side. So it was just a bit awkward, and there's no instructions because cheap bikes don't come with instructions, but I'll show you where we are at now. I've managed to get the grip off. I don't know if I showed that before, but yeah, the grip's off now. And pretty much removed the front derailleur and replaced it with the motor, so the motor's on. So that's not too bad. It's just need to tighten up all of this lot. And then get another chain, or get a chain set, because I had to break the chain in order to get it off of the front derailleur. This was my front derailleur, and it was not the most fun thing to do because, well, how does it fit? It fits like this. So the chain was in between here to keep it guided, and so it doesn't, you know, try so to make it so it doesn't come off. However, like I said, like that, wherever it is, yeah, that thing's riveted in, and they don't want you to take it apart. And we did try, and I don't know if the camera will focus on it. We did try and hacksaw the thing apart instead of breaking the chain, but that didn't work because it seems like it's still hardened steel, and we just had a junior hacksaw. So yeah, we just ended up just breaking the chain with a leech, or whatever it's called, just the tool. And so I'll buy a few quick connectors on Friday or something. So yeah, it'll be another week before I can work on this, so I will see you in a week. Okay, so battery's here. Now I believe it looks like it'll fit, but I just want to do a test just in case. Yeah, because I'm always paranoid that it's just not going to be there, and I am worried about how secure it's going to be because it's a heavy fucker. There's only like 2 bottle cages on there, so yeah, we'll have a look at that. So the plan for now, I think, is to avoid tapping more holes. I just mount it upside down, and just to get the test ride out of the way and it built. I may have to, like I said, tap some extra holes in there at some point just to get it to go the right way around, because the lock that's stopping the weight of the gravity is metal in the battery, but it's plastic on the base, and that plastic does not seem very strong. Like, the weight of that rattling around is probably going to break. So yeah, difficult, but we will overcome. Okay, end of the next day, or the current day, whatever day it is, of probably day 2 or 3 of building this thing. I'm waiting for parts to arrive, but yeah, anyways. We're nearly there. We've got everything mechanically connected, so the motor's on, the crankshafts are on, the pedals are on, all the stuff on the gear, you know, the control panel's on. So it's literally just the electricals and the battery to go. So we'll see how long that takes for me to mount, because I'm not entirely comfortable with the battery mount at the moment. So yeah, I'll just show you where I'm at. So let's start with the control hub. So I've decided to have the throttle on the left, along with the power assist, and of course the brake. The weird thing is it looks off center, because like that's a bit further away because of this throttle. Obviously it's quite thick. This is normally, like, if you look at this side, this is right up against the grip, so I'm gonna have to hold it closer in order to get the same sort of effect. I like to hold it here, but yeah, I have to hold it a bit off center, so it'll look a bit funny, but whatever, I'm sure that's normal. So throttle assist, power assist, pedal assist even, and all the menus for the main controller, which is on in the middle. This cannot be removed, so hopefully no one decides that they want to yeah, rip this off, because it's stuck. The only way to get it off is to unscrew it. So I'm hoping nobody sees it and is like, oh, I'm gonna try and yank it. That's a bit dodgy, we'll see. Then I decided to put my bell on the right hand side, along with my gears and of course my brakes. So these wires are the hydraulic brake cutoffs, so I'm assuming I need to put a magnet on here as well somewhere. But yeah, that's the control panel with the, you know, the handlebars. Finally put the chain on, which was fun. Where's the, I don't think you can see the quick link. Where is the quick link? So you can see the quick link in there, the silver Nui looking one. So that went in no problem. The chain looks to be okay, so hopefully this will hold up. I did take 3 or 2 chains out in order to put the quick link in, because I took out the wrong ones to begin with. So yeah, that was fun. So there's my spare chains. Motor's in, pedals are in, the new comfortable ones apparently. So they're in nice and tight. New crankshafts are in, or crank arms are in. So yeah, we're pretty much done. I also put on the whatchamacallit. So this is the speed detector. So whenever, where is it? This magnet goes past this detector, it knows how fast you're going. So I'm losing light now, so I'll rather continue this tomorrow, when I can have some fresh eyes looking at it and think of where I'm going to route all the cabling and whatnot. So I will see you then. Okay, so we have made some good progress on the bike. It's been a week-ish, you know, since the last video. It's done, basically. Like, it works. I've ridden it twice, 2 out of the 4 days I went to work this week, which was great. First day, I had to come home early, so it was cycle to work, cycle back home at lunch, then drive back at lunchtime because I had to do some errands. And I didn't have enough time to ride the bike, but it was great. And the next day, I also rode the bike. Well, no, the next day I had to drive because I was going to the cinema to see Zombieland, Double Tap. I highly recommend that film. But yeah, the day after that, on the Thursday, I cycled in, which also happened to be Halloween. And I cycled back and got lost because it was pitch black and the lamp sucks. So here's what the bike looks like. Boom! It is finished. So the issue we had with the mounting is that we couldn't get it to the frame. So if you remember, like, I couldn't attach it to the frame very well. So we went for a different solution, and if we peek underneath, you can see there's a bit of an air gap. So yeah, there is a bit of an air gap. And what we used to mount these are bottle cage clips. So these were not the original choice. I actually bought a riveter in order to, you know, make some rivets, some holes, or I needed to drill some holes, and I was going to plan on riveting, you know, some threaded rivets into this thing, and then we can put it on, like, attached directly to the cage. Problem with that is I bought the riveter. It's over there. Dun, dun, dun. So I bought the riveter, and yeah, I just couldn't find any threaded rivets. And the guy was like, "Hey, yeah, you need to buy a tap and die set. I've never heard of threaded rivets." And so yeah, that was at I think the Auto Centre at Halfords. The guy was like, I've never heard of threaded rivets before. And I was just like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. You need a tap and die set that costs 30 quid. I was like, 30 quid to drill like 2 holes. That's pretty expensive. So I came back and I initially thought I was going to have to mount it on a pannier in the back, just because it was going to be easier. Weight distribution would be off, but whatever, it will get the job done quicker. And whilst I was up there, one of the helpful Halfords guys says, oh, I've got a mate that builds e-bikes and he uses these things to attach his batteries. And we thought, you know what, they're 4 quid. We'll give them a go. Well, I'll give them a go. My stepdad was with me, but yeah, we'll give them a go. So what we did is we bought 2 packs of these, so we got 4 in total. And we bought some double-sided tape or Gorilla Tape. So what it is like this. It's not like normal, like thin double-sided tape. It's thick stuff that proper. Well, I'll show you. So here we are. We have the clip-on thingy, and then that's like ratcheted in. You can see like it's got these little teeth, and you pull them together using a nut and bolt. And then underneath that we have this double-sided Gorilla Tape or sticky tape, which is actually quite thick. So what happens if you put this tape on and then put the clip over the tape and then you tighten it, it sort of squeezes in on itself and it makes the bond like really fucking strong. Like that's not coming off or moving. And what's like even better is if one of these does break because they're plastic, like it's 4 quid to replace them. I don't have to worry about anything, and it has quite a bit of give. Like it's quite flexible. Yeah, it bounces, but it's not too bad. And it gives me some area underneath to mount and put the cables. Now, you're wondering why this lamp's hanging down. Because it's shit, basically. I need to take this off now, so I think that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to go to Halfords today, cycle there probably, if the weather cleans up a bit, buy a new front lamp, because this come free with the kit, and it's just dreadful. It was convenient because it's wired in to the actual motor, and it goes on the daylight sensor, but yeah, it's not worth it. It doesn't really work. So the camera failed a few times from recording this morning's activities, which is annoying. So 1, it ran out of battery when I was just doing something interesting, like tidying up the cables, and 2, a file got corrupt where I was cleaning up the bottom bracket stuff, so stuff around the wiring around the bottom. So I'll just show you quickly what I've done. Okay, so I've put the mudguard on, makes things look a bit neater. You know, I don't know why, it just does. I've tidied up, I've removed the lamp off of the front and tidied up the wire, so it's sort of like tucked back here now, or down there, or somewhere. Up here, cable tied, that was it. So cable tied it down here. There we go, nicely together, so these aren't going anywhere. And also the mess of wires at the front. Thank you. The mess of wires at the front are no more, so I decided to route them into this bag, and initially I tried to fit them all through this hole. It did not work out very well, so I just got the main connector through, drilled another hole in the front and cut a hole in the fabric in the back, which this is where the camera failed. It just got corrupted, no, it ran out of memory, and then I just wired everything through, so everything's nice and neat in there, and it looks like a normal-ish bike with a bit of bling. I still need to get my front lamp. The sun's just come out, but I don't know how long it'll be out for. It is rather blowy as well, and the clouds do not bode very well. And these are things I'm going to have to get used to as a cyclist, but like I don't have to right now, if that makes sense. So we'll see. So, with the bike built and ready to go, and I've ridden 70 miles? Right, let me check. So far I've ridden 70 miles on the thing. I have noticed a few issues that I've had to deal with in these first 70 miles. So the first being my bell. I need to get a better bell because I'll see if I can do a video or put the video in, but basically I was trying to ring my bell a couple of times, and it's one of those ones where you have to push like a little lever back and then let it go, and it will just ping into the bell. And that doesn't always work. Like, I'm forever just go fucking like whacking it back, and it just goes boom, 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 and doesn't quite hit the bell. So yeah, I need to get that. I need a new bell. I'm not entirely sure of the left handlebar just yet. So the order I've got, it does make sense in terms of how everything's built and how it fits on. But the problem is, now that the brake is more inwards, I'm holding the handlebar more inwards, so I'm off center in how I'm holding it. And if I'm doing one-handed things or whatever, it's I'm right-handed, so I'm holding the thing with my left hand, which is more towards the center. Which, one, that's an issue, and two, my left arm is not my strongest arm because of an injury a couple years ago. It left me with a metal plate all the way up my humerus. So it's not the strongest one to control things. So either I've got to become left-handed when I'm doing stuff, or I need to sort those handlebars out, which I'll probably end up doing. Issue number 2 is taking the handlebar or the grip off. It means that it's loose now, so I need to get some adhesive to basically keep it in place when I'm riding, because it likes to go, it likes to act and rotate whilst I'm riding. So it's a pain, but it's what happens when you want to put stuff on your bike and you need to get the grip off. I don't know, I need to find a way to solve that. Issue number 2 is I found the crank arms on the Bafang kit are not the greatest things in the world. They're aluminium and they're prone to being mashed by the stronger hardened steel as parts of the crankshaft, or the crank in the Bafang kit. So you're forever pedaling like that, which is putting pressure on the square bracket. That's a circle, but whatever, the square bracket that's in there. So it's going to deform over time and it comes loose. So because of the amount of torque when the engine's going, it goes woo, and then as soon as you stop pedaling or you stop putting the throttle on, that stops. The crank, the crank going round stops, and it just stops immediately. It's like, and that then also puts pressure kind of like on your pedal or the crank arm, which sort of, I guess, undoes the bolt, because I'm having to tighten it like at least once a week. So I'm going there and I'm just checking the bolt and I'm like, hey, it feels a bit loose, because whenever I'm riding there's like a little bit of give before it engages, which is not ideal. So it's either I need to buy a new crank arm set from hardened steel, which I don't want to do because they're expensive, because the Bafang's basically proprietary and normal crank arms don't fit. So it's either go for some like Lecky buzz bars or something that cost 50 to 90 quid, or deal with the aluminium ones for a bit, which I'm going to do because it's cheaper, and I'm sure I'll just tighten them down for a year and they'll last me a while. So fuck it, I'm doing that. Issue number 3 was the chain that I had. So weirdly enough, my Halfords Crossfire 3, when I bought it, new, like brand new, it come with its own chain, and that chain did not have a quick link on it. Now, a quick link is something that you can just like literally go bump and pop it out and the chain comes apart and it's nice and easy. The chain was literally like all chain rings, no quick link. And the weird thing is, my colleague at work, who also cycles to work, has the Crossfire 2, which is, a younger generation of the bicycle. And his come with quick links, so I don't know why mine didn't and his did, despite mine being a more expensive, and later model. Dumb, I don't know, so I had to go out and buy quick links and put that part of the chain, and I don't know. Halfords bikes, man. The cheaper ones, they're fine, but I also had to oil the chain because it had been outside for a year, or in my shed, and like I was cycling to work and home, and all I could hear was, and I just thought it was like something to do with the motor, and I was trying to find out all these, no, everything's tight, everything's in. And then I hit the chain and it just goes, knocked it. So I had to get some oil and sort that out, which was fine. Just got some all-purpose stuff throughout the year. I guess another point is I should probably replace the chain ring that's on the front drive. So I went for like a 40 something tooth. I put it in as an annotation how many teeth I went, but went for one of the larger rings, and this gives me more speed rather than torque. So it's not as good for hill climbing. However, if you put it in a lower gear, it's absolutely fine. So there's no issues there. But the thing is, the teeth on the kit it comes with are not great. I haven't had any slippage that I know of yet, but I just don't want the teeth to wear down or something. Yeah, I might go for some aftermarket parts once I've gotten rid of the car, if I'm being serious on this thing, just because it will engage and just be much cheaper to get a better part that will last longer. I'll probably replace my tyres as well at some point, just so they're more puncture resistant tyres, but for now everything's fine. I do need to get some proper fenders for the front and back, because I do plan to put panniers on, so the beaver tail I've got is not going to do a good job, and especially at the moment in the rain on the front, like I've got something this mud guard protecting the battery, but doesn't protect my face. So things flick up in front and I run into them at 25 to 30 miles an hour, which is wonderful. So yeah, there's some issues, but there's less mechanical issues than there would be on a car. If a tyre explodes, I can just walk it to work. I've got puncture repair kit. It doesn't take me that long to sort out. I've not had to deal with one yet. So what's the plan? The plan for the future is video number 2 is going to be a comparison of my commutes to and from work on both the early shift and the late shift, because my early shift starts at 7:30, which means on the bicycle I need to leave at 7, and in the car I can pretty much leave at 20 past 7 because it's like 10 minutes away on my car. It's early, no one's up, it's great. But on the late shift, this is where it makes the difference, where I leave, I don't know, around about 9 in both car and bicycle, and I'm at work ready to go before I am on, using the car, just because of time I'm spent in traffic and time I'm spent trying to find a parking spot, and then the time walking from that parking spot to my building. So yeah, part 2 will be a commuter difference, like, hey, here's my averages of how long it takes me, and here's some footage side by side to do a comparison. Part 3 will probably be a longer distance ride, but in the future, where I'm doing 30-40 miles on the thing, and just a longer review, I guess. And then maybe part 4 will be the day I decide if I'm going to give my car back and go carless completely. So this will be an adventure, and yeah, I hope you join me for it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.